Would you buy an expensive diamond or the gemstone without certification? Probably not. If you're considering that, don't do it until you watch this video. And there's a few reasons why you don't want to do that. First reason, you want to make sure that you get in what you paid for. What I mean is that you get in the color that you paid for, the clarity, the cut quality, the size at the end of the day. And all of those things are in the certificate, proven by the professional gemologist, and it makes sense to trust it. Second thing, you want to make sure that you actually bind, let's say, the natural diamond, not the lab diamond, not the moissanite, you actually bind the natural diamond. Third thing, you want to make sure the origin is right. With the diamonds, the origin would not matter, but for example, if you bind the Kashmir sapphire and you pay in the premium, you don't want to get the Sri Lankan sapphire instead. So for that reasons, you want to get the certification. But is the GIA only one certificate? Definitely not. There's quite a few of them, and you definitely want to know the difference. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through all of those certificates. I'm gonna teach you how to read them. And at the end of the video, I will tell you few proven methods how to see whether you get in the fake one or you get in the real certificate. Because believe me, there is lots of fakes out there. So let's go. And the first lab that we're going to cover, of course, GIA, the Gemological Institute of America, that was founded in 1930s in California. And this one primarily grading natural and lab diamond, also a few gemstones out there. And most importantly, they grade loose stones. So they're not gonna grade the stone that is already set. They are the one who created the FORCE system, and they are technically the most trusted laboratory out there. And for a reason, they have a very strict requirement to all of the stones that they are grading. How to read their certificates? First of all, there is a number of the certificate itself. It's on a certificate on the top portion of it or on the bottom left corner. And also the same number is on the girdle of the stone. So that's the thin portion between the top portion of the stone and the bottom. What you can do with this number? First of all, if you lost your certificate, you can go ahead online and put this number on the website and you're going to see all the numbers. Second thing, you can check whether it's a real certificate or not. And sometimes the certificate is just not going to appear. That just means that it's just very poorly made fake. Or sometimes it will appear, but numbers will be different. So you need to be very careful and check all of the numbers, sizing, all of those things. Also on this certificate, you're going to see all of the 4 C's, the one that GIA actually created. And it's going to clarify your color, the first C, your carat weight, your clarity, and your quality of the cut. But keep in mind that GIA grades that differently than, let's say, the other labs. So in a lot of times you cannot directly compare, let's say, IGL or IGI to GIA. They are slightly different. The other thing that you're going to see on your GIA certificate is inclusions. You're going to have the map of the stone and you will see all of your inclusions there. Also, if you buy in the colored diamond, if you're lucky and you have the colorful one, you're going to have all of the information about the colors. I have the separate video, most likely it's a previous video to this one, where you're going to find all of the information about colored diamonds, and I'm explaining in details how to read those certificates. So again, the GIA is your standard, your benchmark for the diamonds that we primarily used in the engagement rings. They're not necessarily the best lab for investment diamond or for gemstones, but they are the best when it comes to the grading of the loose diamonds. The next lab that I want to talk about is AGL, American Gemological Laboratories. And if the GIA is all about the diamonds, this one all about the gemstones. This lab was founded in 1977 in New York, and it's highly respected when it comes to valuable sapphires, rubies. AGL first confirms what gemstone actually is. For example, it's going to say natural corundum, or it's going to say natural beryl. That means you have emerald in front of you. It's natural, it's not fake, it's not lab. It's exactly what it is. Second, extremely important thing, especially when it's come to the colorful gemstones, they're going to confirm that this stones is not treated or treated on the opposite side, because the price difference is going to be pretty significant. Colorful gemstone can be treated in a few different ways to enhance the color or the clarity, or both of those things together. It could be heat treated, it could be irradiated, and a few other methods. Nothing wrong with any of those, but you want to be aware that the price difference is going to be very significant between the untreated stone and the treated stone. Another thing that AGL is going to confirm and GIA will not is the origin of the stone. Again, it doesn't really matter when you buy in the diamond, they all going to be priced the same, whether it's mined in Africa or in Russia or in Canada. But let's say if you buy in the Kashmir sapphire would be dramatically more expensive than Sri Lankan sapphire, with the same clarity, with the same color, with all the identical specs, but the origin going to affect the price dramatically. And I actually have the separate video about the natural emeralds. Go ahead and check it out. And I'm saying there that the origin not only going to affect the price, it's going to affect the color and inclusion. So different emeralds from three main different regions going to look dramatically different. And by the way, if you haven't noticed yet the change of the background, look at this beautiful ocean. I'm on a big island in Hawaii. Aloha to everyone. It's a wonderful place, beautiful place, and probably one of the best places to record the YouTube video like that. I hope you like it and you don't mind the sound of the ocean in the background. So let's keep on going. The next lab, or rather institute I want to talk about, is IGI, International Gemological Institute. This one is quite huge. They have over 1,000 gemologists in their institute. They have offices in Adventern, the main one in Dubai, in New York, in India, and a few other places. IGI was founded in Belgium, Adventern, and if you don't know this place, it's actually quite interesting. 85% of all the diamonds go through that little Belgium city, and they have the biggest diamond auction in the world. It's just been like that since 15th and 16th century, so for a while. IGI is quite different from GIA. Some people might say, oh, they grade in the diamonds in exactly the same way. No, they don't. GIA only grades the loose diamonds, so the one that is not set in the ring itself. So if you already have your diamond set in your engagement ring, you cannot just send it to GIA and grade it. You'll have IGI grades both. They grade loose stones and they grade the stones that are already set in the setting, which is incredibly useful for the artisans and artists who first of all want to make the jewelry and then go ahead and grade it and grade the actual stone and the setting all together. The second thing you need to be aware that IGI in general is a little bit less strict than GIA in their grading. So for example, if in IGI you see E color, in a GIA certificate it's going to be F or G. So one step down from GIA. Nothing bad about it, nothing good about it, it's just the fact, and you just need to know how to read it. IGI is significantly more affordable. Of course it's more affordable because the color is not directly compatible. You will have to go one step or even two steps down to compare them directly. And when you do that, most of the time the price difference is not going to be that significant. Again, nothing bad about it, it's just the way the lab is working. I have to say though, in most of the cases, IGI diamond is going to be a better deal overall. For the money, you're going to get a better diamond. On the other side, if you want to have an extra peace of mind, the GIA is probably the way to go. All the other things that I mentioned in GIA certification is going to be true for IGI. You're going to have your certificate number that is also going to be on the girdle of the stone itself. You can verify it in the same kind of way. You can go to their website and put those numbers and get the certificate itself. And you're going to have all of the specification of the size and inclusions, colors, all of your 4Cs in this certificate as well. The next institute that I want to mention is SSEF, Swiss Gemological Institute. Founded in 1972, this Swiss institute grading the very expensive gemstones. That's your $100,000 sapphires or emeralds or alexandrites and other things. Those certificates extremely detailed. They have all of the best practices from all the other certificates that we just mentioned. They grade everything, all of your 4Cs, the origins, whether it's heat treated or not. They have a very detailed photos. It's a completely different level of certification, and it does make sense because they do grade extremely expensive gemstones for the collectors out there. So all of your collector diamonds, which are D colors, VVS ones, all of your extremely rare sapphires, emerald, and of course all of the alexandrites, they all graded by this lab. Not necessarily just them. There's other certification, of course, but they are the most common for those type of stones. They also very well known for very specific, very strict, extremely strict approach to the treated stones, because the price of those stones is going to be affected extremely dramatically by whether it was heat treated or not. So they have their ways of determining that, and it's considered to be one of the most strict methods to grade whether it was heat treated or not. And the last lab that I want to mention is Gübelin Gem Lab, another very prestigious lab from Swiss. They were founded in 1923, and they are very famous for very detailed certificates of the gemstones with the very beautiful detailed photos. You have to see them. I'm, as a photographer, always happy to see those certificates because they are beautiful. And for you out there who loves vintage jewelry and who is about to buy an expensive piece, note that they've been around since 1923. So the chances are, if it's a valuable piece of jewelry, they grade it. And if your piece is not graded, I will double check why. Okay, let's summarize to make things simple, because I know I covered quite a lot, and trust me, there is even more if you're going to dive deeper. But let's just summarize and make things simple. If you buy the loose diamond separately from the setting for your engagement ring, then it's a GI. They are very well known for this. If you buy the gemstone, that's AGL. If you buy the piece of jewelry that is already made, or you want to get the maximum for your money, that's IGI. And if you're looking for extremely exclusive pieces, exquisite, expensive, all of that, that's SSEF or Gübelin. I'm not saying that those rules are 100% set in stones and that's the way it goes. Absolutely not. There's a plenty $10 million diamond certified by GIA, and a lot of collectors would prefer that actually. Well, in reality, most of the time they would prefer to have the multiple certificate from the different labs. But in most of the cases, that's just the way it's going to go. And now, as I promised at the beginning of the video, we're going to talk about extremely important thing, and that's how to determine whether your certificate, and as the result your gemstone, is real. And before we're gonna dive into that, let's talk about what kind of fake certificates is actually out there. Most commonly, you're going to see 4 variations of it. First one is completely fake certificate. Honestly, quite rare thing to see because it's very easy to spot. You can just go to the website, check the numbers, and it's just not going to work. So this one is extremely rare. Most commonly, it's going to be a misleading certificate. the certificate from the institute that no one knows about. It's not going to be one of those that I just mentioned. It's going to be one of the names that you never heard before, but they're going to have all the right numbers and the beautiful design and everything else. Another type of the fake certificate is a temperate certificate. Those are everywhere. Those are actually pretty common. That's the one that was altered with the Photoshop or any other software. Basically, you're going to see somewhat real certificate where numbers or letters are changed, where the grading is not actually real. And if you're not careful with that, you might go to the website, you will download the certificate, and you'll be like, this one is matching. But if your letter is not matching, and it's going to affect the price dramatically. And the fourth type of fake certificate, or I want to say the scam, is certificate that is not matching to the stone. Extremely common with the round stones, by the way, because I mean, round stones are the most common diamonds for the engagement rings out there, probably like 85% of the market. They are extremely similar. The only difference is in size and color, and most of the engagement rings are 1 carat or so. So the only difference left is the color itself. And it's very easy to replace one certificate with another. The first thing that you want to do is, of course, to check the certificate itself. And if the seller is hesitating to give it to you, or there is some sort of play going on that, oh, we're going to provide it to you later when you're going to buy the stone, that's not a good sign. When you got the certificate, what you want to do, you want to go online and check it. I also would highly recommend you to get the digital gauge. That's the jewelry digital gauge available out there on Amazon. They're going to measure your gemstone very, very precisely. And that's a very good idea, because when you're going to see this loose gemstone, you're going to measure it very precisely. And if those measurement is not aligning with what you see on the certificate, there is a very high chance that this certificate is not belong to the gemstone itself. Another thing that you want to check if the certificate looks unusual. It's not a secret that all the labs, all the institutes like GIA, IGI, changing the design of the certificates once in a while. And you can see all of those types of designs on their website. And if your certificate, the one that you see, doesn't align with those designs, that's actually a red flag. You want to avoid this purchase altogether. Another very good sign of you being scammed, that's the only word I can think of, is that you being rushed. They saying you, oh, you have to buy this stone right now. Yes, we don't have the certificate right now, or we do have it, but we have a copy of it, blah, blah, blah. That's a red flag for sure. Another red flag that is usually go with the Russian order is the big discount, quite a big discount. We're going to give you 30, 40, even 50% for this specific stone because the moon is full today. In this case, you also want to avoid this purchase altogether. Diamond market is extremely stable and demand is quite good. Yes, there is a fluctuation in price. 5 years ago, the carat was going for $10,000 during the pandemic, and that was absolute high of the market. Right now, they obviously adjusted to like 5,000–6,000 per carat. And overall, of course, I would highly recommend to buy your gemstone from the reputable jeweler who has a nice reviews, who's been on the market for a while, who knows what they're doing, and you trust them. If you still want to have extra peace of mind, what you can do, you can ask to make a separate independent appraisal after you receive the ring, the gemstone. And after this appraisal, you want to have an agreement with the jeweler that if the gemstone and the jewelry itself is not aligning with what appraisal going to determine, you want to return this piece. There is no hard feelings about it. You're the buyer, you have the buying power, and there is a seller. And the seller who is sure about his jewelry would agree on that. We actually had this case once, and the guy is absolutely incredible. We're still in a good relationship with him. He wanted to do that. I said, no problem, we can. So when he received the ring, he went to the independent lab and made an appraisal. And appraisal was actually $2,000 more than we sell the ring for. That's actually always a good sign. So your appraisal going to be somewhere there, either equal or it's slightly less, slightly more. But you want to make sure that it's not dramatically different. So again, the certificate is extremely important when you buy an expensive stone. And why am I highlighting the expensive stone? Because in some of the cases, the certificate would not make sense. And we've done those rings. For example, we did an engagement ring for a great guy actually, who had a very specific design in mind and is quite unique, but at the same time hadn't had big enough budget to get a 1 carat stone or something like that. Completely understandable, he's in his early 20s. So we suggested in this case to buy the diamond without certification. Our gemologist will check it, we will tell you what kind of color it is, whether it has inclusions or not, we'll figure out the price. We're not an independent institute, we're not gonna give you all of the exact numbers, but we're gonna tell you whether it's worth paying or not. And in this case, he got half of the carat engagement ring for $1,600 or $1,800, somewhere there. Incredibly good deal. If you're going to add certificate to it, it's going to be more expensive. And in this case, of course, it doesn't make sense. But when you're buying anything over the carat, certificate is must have. So with this video, you're going to avoid 80% of the mistakes. Just follow them, and most of the time you're going to be good. For the other 20%, again, I highly recommend to consult with a reputable jeweler. Do not try to buy too good to be true kind of rings. Most of the time it's quite spooky and just not worth it. You're buying it once and you want to get exactly what you're paying for. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you like this scenery, you like this background. Next time it's going to be something different and you enjoyed the beautiful ocean behind me. Let me actually walk with you over there. And some of you who watched this video until the end is going to have a beautiful view to it. Okay, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to just show you.